Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is November 24th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. I'm going to stop it right there and look at some of that dense fog there in the Sacramento, into the San Joaquin Valley, some of the valleys of the coastal areas as well. Some fog across some of the Bay Area, hit and miss up and down some of the coastal areas, even into Los Angeles County, down towards San Diego as well. And you can see some of the snow across some of the higher terrain there of the Sierra Nevada. And if I toggle back and forth there, you can see the sun rising across the Pacific Ocean on the GOES 18 satellite imagery. There's Mount Shasta way up there in Northern California. Now, taking a look here, this is Eureka National Weather Service. Maybe a little bit of precipitation coming through on Thanksgiving Day. A very weak cold front, as they mentioned here. And you can kind of see the forecast. You can pause that if you like. And Sacramento National Weather Service also talking about their temperatures here over the next few days as we go on into Thanksgiving week. You can see some of the dense fog advisories out there right now, but you see Sacramento stuck right there in the low 60s for the time being. Now, we got some interesting weather potentially coming up, so stick with me as well. I'll show you the latest on that. But also, I just wanted to point out one more time some of the hazardous beach conditions here as we go through the day today. The beach hazard statements are still out there, so just remember to don't turn your back on the ocean. You see some of these breaking waves 13 to 18 feet still, and this is why that's going on. Significant wave height as we go on in through the day today. You can kind of see that elevated in towards the yellow there. But then we do get a break. Doesn't mean you shouldn't watch out for sneaker waves, but we do get a break here as we go through some of the upcoming weeks. See the system move towards the Pacific Northwest, a little bit of bump in some of the wave action there as we go through next weekend. But as we go off into the extended forecast, you can kind of see this next trough as we go on into the first week of December, the first half of December, kind of moving down the coastline there. So something interesting, and I just thought you'd like to see how some of these waves play out when we do get some of this more active weather into the region. Now, taking a look at the artificial intelligence model, this is where things start to get a bit more interesting. So if we put this into motion, we've got a ridge in the meantime here, and it hangs on in through about Thanksgiving week coming up. But then we start to get this shift in the pattern here, a little bit Pacific North American negative oscillation, where we get the troughing trying to move down over the west portion of the USA, and you can see that really carve out as we go through next weekend. The GFS has this a little bit further off to the west, but this right here would bring some precipitation to the state of California. Pretty chilly air mass trying to move across the Intermountain West. And then you can see this next trough kind of retrograde and push out over the coastal waters. That would also bring rounds of precipitation back into California. And then another deep trough as we go on into the first half of December at the very end of the run there. That one continues to show up as well. And if we look at the GFS, this is running hot off the presses, the 12Z data. So I'm going to update that and get the most recent information. We'll scroll through here and see what it has to say. And there goes that system through the Pacific Northwest. And then you can see that Arctic air mass on the move. You can see how this carves out a bit further out over the ocean waters. That would bring some more impactful precipitation to California. And then this next low out here, that's the one that was retrograding on the artificial intelligence. We'll worry about that one later. But you can see there is a chance for some precipitation coming as we go through this upcoming weekend, depending on the track of this upper level low. Now, if we look at the artificial intelligence, which really has been the best performing model around recently, there's that system into the Pacific Northwest. Again, just clipping northern portions of California, maybe Crescent City, and a little bit of rainfall out of that. And then we scroll off and you can see that Arctic air mass trying to move down across western portions of the USA. And it does bring some precipitation here for some central and southern California. Again, depending on the exact trajectory and the track of that low, you can see even a surface low across Arizona. There is this Arctic boundary right there across the Intermountain West with some cold air trying to leak down into portions of the Southwest. And then we scroll off into the future, and there goes that one that retrogrades off the coastline. Again, would be springing moisture back up across the state of California. A pretty impressive storm at that. Way off into the extended forecast. So you don't want to get too excited. It's just fantasy land right now, but it continues to show some of this troughing and some of this impactful weather as we go on into the first half of December. So we'll definitely keep our eye on that. Now, looking at the GFS, let's see what would happen if it takes that track that goes a bit further off the coastline. Well, you can clearly see you get a bit of precipitation for Northern California, better amounts for some of the central coast there, and it spools around there across Southern California, and then who knows what's going to happen after that. We won't worry about that too much. But If you look at 850 millibar temperatures, it really shows you the ridge over the area here in the meantime. That's protecting us from any storm systems, keeping the flow offshore, but not too strong. And then we scroll off in towards next weekend. You can see that colder air mass. You can see the boundary of that colder air mass drop down across portions of Oregon, even trying to get into California. You can see it spilling off the coastline and wrapping back into California as well. So yeah, Arctic air mass on the move here as we go towards next weekend. How far down across California will that get? Good question. We'll continue to watch it day by day. And the artificial intelligence, again, same map, 5,000 feet. You can see the Arctic air mass staying a little bit further off to the east. This is probably a more likely outcome here, but that still could trigger some precipitation and some active weather across California. And just a reminder here, for the last month, we have done quite nicely here across the state of California. Just kind of want to bask in that for a little bit. You can see many areas to 400, 800% above normal during that time frame. And if we take a look at daily 2-meter maximum temperature here, I'll scroll through here. There's today, Monday, November 24th. There's Tuesday, Wednesday. There's Thursday, Thanksgiving. Check it out. Some nice mid 70s out there, and like even some low 80s showing up, maybe towards 80 degrees for Death Valley as well. But yeah, nice and warm up the Central Coast, mid 60s all the way through the Sacramento Valley. And yeah, what else here? So check out the Patreon page if you like, and hopefully you guys are having a good day, and I will catch you guys in the next forecast.